Hey everybody, Sophia Parola here with the Garden State Film Festival, and I have the pleasure of interviewing the writer, director, and producer of the short documentary The Shave, Fajer Alalami. Thank you so much. I said it right, yes.
Perfect.
Thank you for teaching me, and thank you for coming to talk to us today about the documentary.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you. I'm so excited that I get to ask you how you made it. But before we get into it, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and The Shave?
Well, my name is Fajer Alalami. I'm a filmmaker based here in the United Arab Emirates. I really don't know how to describe my experience in this film. It has been crazy. Like, it's something along the lines, you know, that inflatable air balloon tube that you see outside of shops that does this. That was basically me. That was the whole journey of the film. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. Especially given the fact that my background is usually fiction films, so this was my first non-fiction experience. So it was really amazing.
That is amazing, and congratulations for making that switch and it coming out so great. So, I mean, since it's hard to explain and it was a crazy blow up.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're called, but I know them and I love them. I would love to get into the journey of how you made this, but first, when did it all begin? When did you start making this story? How do you know Mohammed? When did it all start?
To give you a bit of a backstory, the film was part of something called Arab Film Studio, which is like an annual training initiative conducted by a company named Image Nation. So it was me, along with other 5 participants. We had to submit a film synopsis for a documentary that we wanted to do. And we had also to submit 2 other backup stories in case our main story didn't work out. And to the surprise, Mohammed was not one of the 3 stories. Like, it was not the initial story. Because the first story that I wanted to do, 2 weeks before the shooting, the character canceled on me because we have like a certain time constraint where we have to produce the film in a certain period. So he canceled on me. I had 2 weeks to find another story. So I had to talk to friends, talk to people, try to find a new story. And I met Mohammed. And he was a friend of a friend. I really wanted to capture his story because it really spoke to me in some level. And yeah, I talked to him, we connected, we went out and we instantly connected, and he was really thrilled to be part of this film. So that's a sum up of what exactly happened. It was crazy, yeah.
Wow. Are you happy that it ended up, the other story falling out and you ran into Mohammed and this all worked out?
Yes. Like, it's always, I don't know, there is something about things that you don't plan for that always works out. I don't know. So I was really happy that Muhammad's story, that I found it, and especially that his story was covered by so many media outlets. So I started watching his interviews and getting to know him and whatnot, and then I felt that, yeah, this is the story that I want to do. It's Muhammad's story. So yeah.
Wow. So what about the story really stood out to you, and what did you want to portray as directing it? Like, what are you hoping audiences get from watching The Shave?
I wanted people to feel Muhammad, to feel his story, because I think like every one of us has their own struggle, and Muhammad is just another human being that has his own struggles. So I wanted people to feel him, to connect to his character, because as you saw, there's a scene in the film in the bathroom, which is like my favorite scene, when he's shaving. I think in that intimate moment, how he was looking at himself, how he was he wasn't just like facing himself, he was facing society. It wasn't just like shaving, he was feeling, breaking, self-healing, and I wanted people to have a peek into that moment. So yeah, that was about it. Yeah,
I love that, and I love the reference to the shave, and now that makes the title of it that much more important. I think this Mohammed's story and this documentary is so relatable. Like, obviously, I'm nothing like Mohammed. I'm very different, but I related to the aspect where, you have to, like, you have standards for who you are, and you have to live up to those standards, but you have to accept yourself for who you are. And I think that is
Exactly.
just a beautiful message. Did you know where the story was going to go beforehand? Like, how did you write this documentary? Was it after the fact, or did you before the fact? Does this if this makes sense?
It was before, after, during, like just name it. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I went through his interviews, and I felt that the media was covering it in a way that I wouldn't cover in the same manner, because it was like kind of a show, kind of covering his story. I wanted to get into the inner Muhammad. I wanted to know how he was facing all these obstacles, and how he's facing those like masculine stereotypes that he had to go through every day. So it connected to me some way, and it connected to so many people that are having the same struggles or something like them. So yeah.
So you said that you had to make this in a certain time frame
Yes.
for the project. So how long did it take to film?
The filming was done in 2 days, but
Oh,
the
wow.
planning, 2
That's
days,
a lot.
yeah. But the planning and the pre-production and the production, like all together, they took about 9 months.
Wow. So
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
it like filming Mohammed, following him? Like, what was the filming process like? Was he super open about it or uncomfortable?
He,
How was it?
I had a concern before shooting him, especially that it's a man's story, it's a man's world. And I had to be like really careful of my questions and how I phrase the questions, because it's a different for a man opening up to a woman, and the woman he just met like 2 weeks ago. So I had a really huge mental stress about like asking him questions, but I tried to strengthen my relationship with him before the filming. So we started going out, we started being like friends. So I wanted to be the interview to be as if friends are sitting together and not just like complete strangers and like just a random woman asking him, how are you dealing with manhood? I didn't want it to be that weird, so I had
Right.
to create some kind of a relationship with him before shooting.
That makes sense. And I'm sure that obviously contributed to how he was so vulnerable and open and honest during these interviews and
Exactly.
just the whole documentary. So you usually
Exactly.
do narrative fiction. This is totally different. I'd love to ask you, what was the best part of this experience? What was the most challenging part of this experience? Like, what did you learn from this huge jump in your career?
I'm used to shooting in a controlled environment with a script and people who know, like the actors who hit their marks and just know what to say in front of the camera. And this was like something really different to me. It was something on the go. I had to improvise. I had to know when to not say anything and when to interrupt. And it was a whole experience on a different level that I haven't experienced before. So it was really challenging. What was challenging also, as I told you, a woman asking questions for a man about manhood, that was also a really big struggle, but I think I made it in a way, because the interview went smoothly. He didn't feel offended in any sort, and it went well. So I was really having a hard time, like just I'm asking the question internally multiple times before asking him. Really, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. So yeah,
Wow.
that's
Oh, both
it's all about struggles.
one of the biggest challenge was one of the best part of it as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Thank you.
Do you have any advice for other filmmakers who want to accomplish what you did in this documentary?
Uh, I think what I learned from this film, and especially with the time constraint that I had to find a story in 2 weeks. I think I just advise people to just do it, like just go out there, talk to people, try to find stories, talk to friends, talk to family. You would never know what you will discover, and you'll find great stories around you. So just like dig deep, and you'll find something amazing. Like me, as I found Muhammad, which I like to say hi to Muhammad. He's an amazing.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah,
Shout out.
yeah,
Your story is beautiful. If you're watching, thank
yeah.
you. Thank you for sharing.
He was amazing character, and I'm really honored to work with him.
Absolutely. His story is inspirational, and this documentary it inspired me, and I'm sure it inspires a lot of people watching, especially at the
Thank
Garden
you.
State Film Festival at the 20th anniversary this year. It's a huge year. So congratulations on your
Thank you so much.
acceptance. How did you hear about the Garden State Film Festival? How does it feel having The Shade screen here this year?
I really didn't believe that I got accepted. It was like a really great surprise. Thank you guys for accepting the film and for having me on this interview. Like, it's really nice to get recognized from a film festival that is great. So like, I really love it. I didn't believe it when I got the email. I'm like, whoa, what would be, it was amazing.
Yes, shout out to the blow up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. It has been amazing.
Oh, I love that. Well, it has truly been a pleasure talking to you. I love the film. I love that you challenged yourself and then like just successfully accomplished something that was very different to you. And obviously I love Mohammed's story, and I thank you both for sharing and making a documentary out of it.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. You were a pleasure to talk to. I just want to say you're a lovely person. So thank you. And I want to tell everyone watching how they can see The Shade. You can access all the films virtually. Visit gsff.org for an all virtual pass. But if you want to see this in person at the Garden State Film Festival, it will be screening at the Jersey Shore Art Center Sunday, March 27th in the Film Block, 12 to 2 p.m. So definitely check it out. Watch Mohammed's story. See this beautiful documentary. We've all felt like the blow up sometimes. So we can all relate together. Thank you again, Fajer. It was truly amazing talking to you.
Thanks a lot. It has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.